Greetings students, welcome to my class. Students, in the previous class I told you the summary of the chapter from the diary of Anne Frank. We started the further explanation of the chapter also, and we did this first three oral comprehension check questions, and we discussed their answers too. Now in this class we will continue with the further explanation of the chapter from the diary of Anne Frank. I am sure that with the brief summary you have an idea of this chapter, and whatever explanation so far we have done, you have a good idea of this chapter, that what this chapter is all about. Now we will start the further explanation of the chapter. We had read up to that in the previous portion. She explains the need of writing the diary. She explains that why writing in a diary was a strange experience for her. She gives the explanation also, and why she keeps the diary in the first place, why she want to keep the diary, why paper has more patience than people, she says, and that's why she explains all the reasons. And now we will start the further explanation. So I hope you all have the books with you, and the books are open, and please pay attention now. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty if I were to plunge right in, I would better provide a brief sketch of my life, much as I dislike doing so. Before I explain the meaning of these 3 lines or 4 lines, I would ask you a question. I am asking you a question that who is Kitty? Tell me in the comment box that who is Kitty? Kitty is mentioned. Quickly. I hope you have typed who is Kitty. I will read it out later. So please type it, who is Kitty. Now she is saying, since जैसा कि no one would interested a word of my story, she built to Kitty. Kitty is the name of her diary, name of her best friend. She gave the name to the diary Kitty. So she is saying, जैसा कि कोई भी मेरी ज़रा लिखी गई बातों को जो किटी में मैं लिख रही हूँ कोई बिलीव नहीं करेगा, अंडरस्टैंड नहीं समझे, a word of my, एक भी वर्ड नहीं समझने वाला है. इफ़ आई वर टू प्लंज राइट इन, प्लंज मीन्स टू जंप, ड्रॉप और फॉल सडनली विद फोर्स. कहीं से डायरेक्ट में अगर शुरू कर दूंगी कि नो बडी वुड अंडरस्टैंड अ वर्ड, what I am going to write, what I have written in the kitty. So she is saying, I would better provide a brief sketch of my family. She wants my family much as I dislike doing so. जैसा कि मुझे करना तो पसंद नहीं है कि मैं अपने फैमिली के बारे में बताऊं, but if I would directly start, nobody would understand a word written by me in the kitty. और माई स्टोरी, जो भी मैंने कहानियाँ बताऊँगी कोई भी एक शब्द नहीं समझेगा अगर मैं फैमिली के बारे में नहीं बताती हूँ. तो इट वुड बी बेटर आई गिव अ स्मॉल ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ माई फैमिली मच एज आई डिसलाइक डूइंग सो. मुझे करना तो पसंद नहीं है लेकिन मैं फिर भी कर रही हूँ. माई फादर, नाउ शी इज़ गिविंग द ब्रीफ डिस्क्रिप्शन, अ ब्रीफ sketch of her family. My father, the most adorable father I have ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. She is saying her father is the most adorable person she has ever seen. सबसे ज़्यादा प्यार करना, सबसे ज़्यादा admire करने वाला उसने कभी भी देखा. और he got married to her mother when he was 36 and she was 25. जब तक वो 36 साल के नहीं और मदर 25 साल की नहीं, दोनों में शादी नहीं हुई थी. शादी तभी हुई जब वो 36 years का और her mother was 25 years old. My sister Margot, her sister name is Margot, was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. 1926 में वो उसकी सिस्टर कहाँ पैदा हुई थी? फ्रैंकफर्ट इन जर्मनी. I was born on 12 June 1929. She was born on this date on 12 June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. Till 4 she was in Frankfurt. My father immigrated to Holland in 1933. Immigrated means when you go from one place to another, one country to another, you have to immigrate. Immigration one place to another भी हो सकता है, one country to another country भी हो सकता है. And her father immigrated to Holland in 1933. My mother Edith Hollander Frank went with him to Holland in September, while Margot and I were sent to Aachen to stay with our grandmother. So her mother also went in September with him, means with her father, and they both, her sister and she, they were sent to their grandmother, Aachen. Margot went to Holland in December and I followed in February when I was plunked down. Plunked down meaning is given, my dear students, an informal word put down in a casual way on the table as a birthday present for Margot. So Margot went to Holland in December and I followed in. After 2 months, she also, December, January, she went in to Holland in February when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot. मार्गोट के लिए बर्थडे प्रेजेंट था, उसको टेबल में रख दिया गया था, तो वो भी वहाँ पर पहुँच गई चौथे साल फरवरी में. I started right away at the Montessori nursery school. So the moment she went there, she started right away at the Montessori nursery school में उसने पढ़ना शुरू कर दिया. I stayed there until I was 6. She stayed there until she was 6. 4 साल की थी वहाँ गई और 2 साल वो वहाँ रही. In the 6th I was 6, at which time I started in the first form. In the 6th form, my teacher was Mrs. Cuprus. मतलब जब तक 6th क्लास में पहुँची तो तब तक उसकी हर टीचर वॉज मिसिस क्यूप्रस, द हेड मिस्ट्रेस. प्रिंसिपल भी थी, जो हेड मिस्ट्रेस मीन्स प्रिंसिपल. एट द end of the year we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell when she started. Her teacher at which time started in the first form. In the 6th form, my teacher was Mrs. Cuprus, who was the headmistress also, and when she was going away from there, so they were both in tears because it was a heartbreaking farewell for both of them. In the summer of 1941, grandma fell ill and had to have an operation. So my birthday passed with little celebration. In 1941, her grandmother got sick, got ill, and she had an operation. So she did a little bit celebration. With a little celebration, her birthday celebration was very little, because in June also, she was born in 12 June. So in the summer only, her grandmother got ill and got an operation. So her birthday celebration was a very little one. Grandma died in January 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. कोई नहीं जानता. She is saying that nobody knows that how often I think. इतनी बार मन के बारे में सोचती हूँ और अभी भी उनसे प्यार करती हूँ. And this birthday celebration in 1942, तो जब 1942 में उसका बर्थडे आया जून में, was intended to make up for the other, and grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. जो पिछला बर्थडे उसका लिटिल सेलिब्रेशन हुआ था, वो इस बर्थडे में उसने अपना बर्थडे सेलिब्रेशन किया. मेकअप फॉर द अदर वन, प्रीवियस वन, एंड ग्रैंडमास candle. She lit an extra candle with all the candles. उसने एक एक्स्ट्रा मोमबत्ती भी जलाई दूसरी मोमबत्तियों के साथ ग्रैंड माँ की याद में. तो इट प्रूव्स दैट शी रियली लव्ड हर ग्रैंड मदर. द 4 of us आर स्टिल डूइंग वेल. 4 of us, देयर पेरेंट्स एंड बोथ द सिस्टर, स्टिल अभी भी वो अच्छा कर रहे हैं. एंड दैट ब्रिंग्स मी टू द प्रेजेंट डेट ऑफ 20th June 1942 एंड द सोलेमन डेडिकेशन of my diary. बोल रहे हैं कि we all 4 are still doing well, and this brings to me the present day 20th of June 1942 and the solemn serious dedication of my diary. और मैं इस डायरी लिखने के लिए काफ़ी सीरियस हूँ. Now 2 more oral comprehension check questions are given. Why does Anne provide a brief sketch of her life? Very easy answer to find out, my dear students. I hope you will find out. Still I will tell you. She thought that if she will not give brief sketch of her life, nobody would understand any single word of her stories written in the kitty, written in her diary. That's why. What tells you that Anne loved her grandmother? Very easy. answer to be fine, because when her grandmother got sick in 1941 and got operation, she did not celebrate her birthday in a grand way, and when next year her grandmother died, she lit an extra candle in the memory of her grandmother. So that proves that she loves her grandmother, really loved her grandmother. Now we will continue with the further explanation of the chapter. So, dearest Kitty. Kitty is, who is Kitty? Yes, Kitty is the friend, name of the diary she has given to and her best friend. Our entire class is quacking in its boot. Quacking in its boot meaning is written shaking with fear and nervousness. तो वो nervous है, shaking its fear, quacking in its boot. The reason why they were all doing this, of course, is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form. Next form here, FR means from this class to another class, who will pass, who will fail, and who will be kept back, और कौन पीछे रह जाएगा, कौन next class में promote हो जाएगा. That's why the whole entire class was quacking in its boots. Half the class is making bets, and from the entire class, the half class, आधी से ज़्यादा class या आधी class शर्तें लगा रही थी कि कौन पास होगा, कौन फेल होगा. GN and I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us. GN is her friend, and they were laughing because two boys behind them were making bets. CN and Jax, who have staked their entire holiday savings on their bet. So the name of the two boys was CN and Jax. They have stacked means सारे के सारे, the whole holiday earning or whole holidays saving they have put on that bet. उस शर्त पर वो पूरा का पूरा पैसा लगा दिया था जो उन्होंने गर्मियों की छुट्टियों में बचाया होगा. From morning to night, it is you are going to pass. No, I am not. Yes, you are. No, I am not. Even GS pleading glances and my angry outburst can't calm them down. So they were betting from morning to night that no, you are going to pass. Another one is saying no, I am not, you are going to pass. Another one is saying no, it's you, I am not going to pass, you are going to pass. And even she is saying that even GS pleading glances ki by tirchi glances, when you look somebody like this, आप तिरछी नज़र से उनको ग्लांस देते हो तब भी, और माई एंग्री आउटबर्स्ट, मेरे गुस्से का भी आउटबर्स्ट हो चुका था, लेकिन दैट दोस वर नॉट एबल टू कीप देम काम डाउन, कांट काम देम डाउन, उनको शांत नहीं करा सकते थे या नहीं करा सके. नाउ इफ़ यू आस्क मी, देयर आर सो मैनी डमीज दैट अबाउट अ क्वार्टर ऑफ द class should be kept back. And Frank is saying if somebody would ask from her, she would say that half of the class or more, about a quarter of the class, 25% of the class should be kept back. 25% of the students should be remained or kept in the same class. उसी class में रखे जाने चाहिए, promote नहीं किए जाने चाहिए according to Anne Frank. If somebody will, कोई उससे अगर पूछे तो. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. Another important statement, she says that teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. And somehow I agree with this statement of Anne Frank, because teacher says that tomorrow you're going to have test and you prepare for the test and the whole evening, the whole night, and next day teacher says no, today there will be no test, I will take the test on some another day. So say something, do something else. Most of the time, not most of the time, but most unpredictable. You never know. Notebook checking, you prepare, tomorrow will be the notebook checking, and the teacher comes next day and says surprise test. When they say tomorrow I'll take test, they cancel the test. When they don't inform you, they take the test. And this is why she says that teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. And somewhere I agree, not the complete agreement, but somewhere I agree with Anne Frank also. Now, I am not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. Girlfriend means उसकी जितनी भी लड़कियां दोस्त हैं, and Frank is saying that I am not worried about myself and my friends. The girl who are her friends. We will make it. She is saying that हम तो पास हो जाएंगे. We are going to the next class. The only subject I am not sure about is maths. So only subject she is not sure about, that is the maths subject. Anyway, all we can do is wait. So she is saying कि anyway कुछ नहीं हो सकता. All we can do क्या हम कर सकते हैं ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा, that is to wait, इंतज़ार करना. Until then we keep telling each other not to lose heart. और तब तक हम ये एक दूसरे को यही कह रहे हैं कि don't lose heart, हिम्मत मत हारो, डिप्रेस मत हो, उम्मीद मत छोड़ो, don't lose heart, ऐसा मत सोचो, don't be negative and all these things. Now, I get along pretty well with all my teachers, and Frank is saying that how is her relationship with all the teacher. It is very good. She is saying I am going well. Get along means when you are very, pretty, have a very good relationship with the teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Now there are total 9 teachers, 7 men and 2 women. And Mr. Keesing, the old Fauji, an old-fashioned person, someone who believes in old ways, old-fashioned man, who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. So she is saying that Mr. Keesing, who was her maths teacher, and he was an old-fashioned man, and he was really annoyed with her, not for 1 or 2 days, for many days or many months, because of her too much talking habit. She was very talkative. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework. It was not that he suddenly gave the extra homework to Anne Frank. He gave many warnings. Several means कई बार उसको warning मिली. He don't talk too much or he will be punished. Then when she did not listen, Mr. Keesing, maths teacher, he gave Anne Frank extra homework. An essay on the subject, a chatterbox. Chatterbox means जो काफ़ी बातें करते रहते, बातूनी जो होता है. A chatterbox, what can you write about that? I would worry about that later, I decided. Then when she came to know that she got the extra homework from her maths teacher, that to write an essay on the chatterbox, she thought, chatterbox, what to write on the chatterbox? Then she decided that उसके बारे में I would think about that later. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag, and tried to keep quiet. So she just jotted down means to note it down briefly. This is the topic I have to write, and tucked it in my bag. में रख दिया उसको. Tucked. You can tucked the something or like this also, but here tucked means to keep it in the bag and try to keep quiet. और उसने शांत रहने की कोशिश करी. That evening, after I would finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. So in the same evening, she is talking about the same evening that when I had finished the rest of my homework, जब उसने अपना सारा का सारा काम मैं ख़त्म कर चुकी थी, तब उस essay ने मेरा ध्यान अपनी तरफ खींचा. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. Ramble on meaning is given, my dear students, talk or write aimlessly for long. She says that when that evening she had finished all her works, that essay attracted her eyes, उसका ध्यान खींचा. Caught my eyes means I began thinking about the subject like normally we do. We take a pen and thinking while chewing. Most of the time while thinking, we people also do, like some people do like this, and some people chewing the tip of the pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words. She's saying that कोई भी होगा तो ramble on मतलब talk और write aimlessly, कुछ भी लिख देगा, बीच बीच में लाइनें छोड़ देगा. बिग स्पेस बिटवीन द वर्ड्स, लाइन नहीं छोड़ेगा एंड कुछ भी लिखेगा एमलेसली, मतलब जो मन में आया वो लिख दिया और बीच में देयर विल बी अ बिग स्पेस बिटवीन द वर्ड्स. But the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. She is saying the main point है जो कि I want to come up with the convincing argument. मैं उसमें ऐसा लिखना चाहती हूँ जिससे कि वो convince हो जाए my maths teacher for the necessity of talking. I thought and suddenly I had an idea. She thought and then suddenly she had an idea. उसके दिमाग में एक अचानक से एक आइडिया आया काफ़ी सोचने के बाद. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Keesing had assigned me and was satisfied. She wrote 3 pages about on that topic about chatterbox and she was convinced, she was satisfied. वो खुश थी, लिख दिया था, संतुष्ट थी. I argued that talking is a student's trait and that I would do my best. What she has written, she argued, उसने जो लिखा वो एक पूरा लॉजिकल लिखा जिसमें आर्ग्यू किया that talking जो है बात करना, that is a student's trait. Trait means क्वालिटी गुण, बात करना एक विद्यार्थी का गुण है. And that I would do my best to keep it under control, कि और मैं पूरी कोशिश करूँगी इसको कम से कम करने की, इसको कंट्रोल में रखने की. But that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there is not much you can do about inherited traits. So inherited traits meaning is given qualities or physical or mental that one gets from one's parents. So she is saying कि talking is a trait of student and she would do her best to control, but she will not be able to क्योर माई सेल्फ ऑफ द हैबिट, पूरी तरह से उसको क्योर नहीं कर सकती. सिंस हर मदर इज़ ऑल्सो वेरी टॉकेटिव एंड टॉक्स एज मच एज शी डिड, इफ़ नॉट मोर. अगर हम उससे ज़्यादा बात नहीं करते तो उसकी मदर उतनी ही बात नहीं जितनी कि वो है. एंड that there is not much you can do about inherited traits. So she is saying that she has got this talkative nature from her mother because her mother is also very talkative, or if not more than her, so then equal to her. That's why, and you cannot do anything about the inherited quality which you get from your traits which you get from your parents. So dear students, I think we will do up to here in this class, and the further explanation in next class we are going to do. Thank you.